Boruto lost focus during his fight against Jura, and because of that, his sword became chipped. This happened while Jura and Boruto were fighting in the air. Jura first hit Boruto in the face with his knee, then he followed up with a kick to Boruto's stomach, which sent Boruto crashing down towards the ground and created dust that looked like smoke. From above, Jura then fired a bijuu bomb at Boruto, but Boruto managed to dodge it and move out of the danger zone. Jura quickly flew after him and appeared behind Boruto before Boruto could notice. From behind, Jura tried to strike Boruto using his middle finger, which was covered in a claw mark. Boruto reacted in time and pulled out his sword to block the attack. This is the moment when Boruto's sword became chipped. Boruto later explained to Sumire that his sword is the Uchiha Flowing Blade Jutsu. This jutsu increases the sharpness of the sword and prevents it from chipping by constantly infusing it with chakra. However, because Boruto was overwhelmed by Jura's fast and powerful attacks and had to defend himself constantly, he lost focus just for an instant. In that brief moment, he wasn't able to keep his sword covered in chakra, which is why it chipped when he blocked Jura's attack. Because of this, Boruto asked Sumire to help him repair his sword using the scientific technology she would discover in the future. She would be able to do this using the scroll Boruto gave her, which contains all the information she would eventually uncover to build that sword for him. Boruto received this scroll from Kashin Koji, who used his presensing jutsu to look into the future and see the steps Sumire would have taken to research and learn everything needed to create this new blade for Boruto. In this video, I'll explain the improvements Sumire made to Boruto's sword based on the information available at the time of recording this video. So what upgrades did Sumire make to Boruto's sword? Sumire has rebuilt Boruto's sword in a way that completely removes his weaknesses when using it. Boruto, unlike Sasuke, is not very good at focusing his chakra for long periods to keep the blade covered in chakra and stop it from chipping. We saw this during the time skip when he and Sasuke were fighting cold. Boruto's blade was cut in half, which means that at some point in the fight, he lost focus and could not maintain the chakra flow, causing the blade to break. During the fight against Jura, Boruto's focus and his ability to keep his blade covered in chakra had improved a lot. Instead of the blade being cut in half, it only received a small chip. Sumire repaired Boruto's sword in a way that allows the blade to automatically maintain Boruto's Uchiha Flowing Blade Jutsu Hokoromo on its own once Boruto grips the hilt and activates the jutsu. What makes this even better is that the blade only uses a small amount of Boruto's chakra to activate, and it can keep the Hokoromo running by itself without needing Boruto to focus on it. This only works as long as Boruto's chakra inside the blade does not run out. This means that only a small amount of Boruto's chakra is needed to keep the blade covered in chakra to stop it from chipping, and Boruto no longer needs to focus on maintaining the chakra flow because the improved blade does that for him. All Boruto has to do now is refill the sword with chakra from time to time to make sure that the Uchiha Flowing Blade Jutsu Hokoromo continues working automatically. For offensive power, Sumire also changed the shape of the blade to increase its strength and cutting ability. Boruto has cut through many things using the chakra stored inside the blade, which is invincible to the eyes. However, sometimes you also infuse the sword with purple lightning to boost its cutting power even more, allowing him to cut through stronger jutsu, materials, and attacks. Because of Sumire's upgrades, this likely means that Boruto will no longer need to use purple lightning to cut through things he previously needed it for before the sword was repaired. He will only need to use purple lightning for much stronger jutsu, materials, or enemy attacks. This helps Boruto save chakra because he won't have to use purple lightning as often to enhance the blade's cutting power. To give Boruto these two major benefits, Sumire had to remake almost every single part of the sword except for the guard, which stayed the same. Sumire also added extra safety precautions to the blade. If anyone whose chakra is not registered touches the sword, they will quickly lose a large amount of chakra. This is because the blade will try to absorb as much chakra as it can from any unregistered person who comes into contact with it. Sumire added this feature as a safety measure in case an enemy ever tries to steal the sword. Only the chakra of Boruto, Sasuke, and Sumire is registered to the blade. Sumire registered her own chakra simply because she needed to be able to work on the sword while repairing it. This safety feature will benefit Boruto a lot. Boruto, just like Sasuke, has a habit of throwing his blade at an enemy or into the area around them. Sasuke then uses this swapping technique to switch places with the blade to get closer to attack. Boruto, instead of swapping, uses the Flying Raijin Jutsu to teleport to his sword. Because of this, the safety system will also help him in case an enemy picks up the blade during a fight. Here's an example of how this safety feature would have helped Boruto earlier. During his fight with Jura, Boruto intentionally dropped his blade so that Jura would pick it up. This was part of a plan to set up one of Boruto's most powerful jutsu. After Boruto realized that Jura was not injured much by the Rasengan he had used, Boruto knew he needed a stronger version, the Rasengan Uzuhiko, to take Jura down. To activate the Uzuhiko, Boruto needed to get closer enough to touch Jura. While dodging Jura's 10 tails wood style attacks, Boruto purposely let go of his blade and allowed himself to get caught by the wooden jutsu. The wooden jutsu kept Boruto connected to the ground, which is exactly what he wanted. The wood also blocked Jura's view, so he could not see that Boruto was secretly observing a bit of the planet's chakra through his feet in order to use the Uzuhiko. Boruto also knew that Jura was curious about the idea of love and the attachments it creates. Boruto made sure Jura saw the blade stuck in the sand and acted as if it was something extremely important to him, an item he had borrowed from his master Sasuke. Boruto warned Jura that if anything happened to the blade, he would make Jura face a fate worse than death. Because of this reaction, Jura picked up the sword and said that because of love, Boruto will not suffer. Once Boruto used the Uzuhiko to break free from the wooden jutsu, he used the Flying Raijin Jutsu to teleport to his sword, which Jura was still holding. This allowed Boruto to appear behind Jura and hit him with the Uzuhiko. Now imagine if Boruto had the new safety feature that Sumire added to the blade. Jura's chakra would have been absorbed by the sword the moment he picked it up, weakening him before Boruto used the Uzuhiko. Of course, this will not destroy Jura because he's the Ten-Tails evolved form, a divine tree person. But against any other enemy besides Jura, this feature would have given Boruto a huge advantage. Sumire has added a special material into Boruto's blade. At the time this video has been recorded, there's no information available that explains what this material actually is. I'm assuming that it might be connected to the way Boruto's blade turned black when he used it in his battle against Mamashu. Once more information is released, I'll make another video as part 2 to explain this in detail.